Your identity is what you commit to. Everyone write that down. Your identity is what you commit to. And the moment you commit to it is the moment you begin embodying that new frequency. So back in 2017, I committed to that energy of me being the full-time YouTuber. And at first, it felt resistant. Eventually, I started to rewire my identity and to see myself as a hard worker. Because before that, I was like working that 9-to-5 job, doing the bare minimum. I start making those videos. And eventually, here I am like editing a video. What I would do is I would film a video, edit a video, schedule it to go out the next day while living at my dad's house and having that 9-to-5 job. I didn't quit my 9-to-5 job and then become a YouTuber, by the way. I did both at the same time. I'm not saying you have to do it the way I did it. Who remembers my story on day one where I quit my job on a whim because I was going to ascend into the 5th dimension? So I was so afraid of quitting. I was like, I literally could have quit in the first 2 months if I would have known what I know today, but I didn't have that information of like how to go full time and all that. But it was interesting looking back and seeing that energy of how I was, waiting. I was kind of like waiting, and it was just a kind of a safety mechanism within myself. So edit a video, schedule a video for the next day, and sometimes I would work till 11 o'clock at night because it was in Vegas. But then what would happen is at night, I'd go home, record a video. My dad hated it, by the way, because I would make my videos in my sister's bedroom, because my bedroom at my dad's house was so small. It was a little twin-size bed in this little like room with huge bookshelves. I literally would like sleep on this little sliver aside of a bed, and then there's no way to make videos in that room. I think there's 1 or 2 videos in that room, but it's behind a desk. It's very dark. But I would go to my sister's room and film, and my dad hated that because then my sister would use that as an excuse to have a messy room, even though like I kept it clean and everything. But it was like he couldn't use that as leverage against her to clean her room. So it was like this constant fight where like, I'll make it in the backyard of my dad's house. But then I'd make it in the backyard of my dad's house, and I was so worried my dad was listening to me talk like outside behind the couch or whatever. He could hear me talking about these esoteric ideas. I remember making the videos like, I'd be like, my name's Aaron. I help people expand their consciousness. I'm looking to make sure, is he paying attention? And you could see me sometimes like talking like this so the neighbors didn't hear, One time what I did is I was like, I got to break through this fear. So what I did is I took this long selfie stick and I went to the Las Vegas Strip and I walked around and I made a video like talking about like spiritual ideas. And one funny thing that I realized is that walking down the street next to the Bellagio and all this stuff in the middle of Las Vegas, talking about these weird esoterics, guess what I found out? No one gives a shit. No one cares. Everyone is thinking of themselves. Everyone's in this own reality. Until what happened, I remember I was like, oh, this is so easy. So here I am walking around with my selfie stick. But then what I did is I went into that of the Caesar's Forum shops, and I was like, I'm going to just keep this stretch experience going. And I walk into the Caesar's Forum shops and open it up, and then it's quiet. And I'm like, oh shit, now people can really hear what I'm saying. That was even more of a stretch experience. But even then, people are just in their own reality. So that started to I let go of more and more fear around that. I let go of more and more attaching to what other people thought. I was so worried in the beginning too, because I was like, as I started to grow on Instagram and on YouTube, because I am YouTube's Aaron Dowdy. We know this, right? I'm just kidding. But where was I going with that? I got carried away with myself. Oh, I would be like making content on Instagram, and at one point I remember I had 10,000 followers on Instagram. And I had 400 friends that followed me from high school that I followed back, you know what I mean? And here I am making content, so afraid to put things out because I'm afraid of what the 200 to 300 high school friends would think, instead of the 9,500 other people that actually cared about what my perspective was. So the reason I'm sharing all this is because there's blocks that are a part of the journey of you wiring in this new you. The fear that comes up does not mean the fear comes up, so then, okay, this must be the wrong direction to go in. The fear that comes up is something for you to push through, because as you step into it, you redefine yourself. you expand yourself. It's like you go from, like what Kyle was showing, where you go from this and you expand yourself beyond that, and then you have a reality that is equal to that new way of being.